The main aim of this session this morning was I was going to take a little scene, as you can see here. Just turn the old music down there. So I've got this little scene going on here with this character. Let me just turn off the controllers. Where are we? Show. And I'll turn off the joints as well. There we go. So I'm going to have this little kind of Gandalf-y type character in this scene. The aim is really to do a bit of sculpting in 3D Coat, and then going to retopologize, and then following on from my recent video looking at emissive painting, we're going to put the models then into Substance Painter. Going to do some cool lettering on there. So as you can see, we've got some references here. Looking at this stuff here. So, you know, something like kind of ancient rune stones with glowing lettering. So the plan is to basically export this, which I've done already. So I'm just going to bring up 3D Coat. So I've got this little scene going on here. I'm going to sort of sculpt into it, retopologize it, export this as an OBJ, put it into Substance Painter. So I'm just praying none of this crashes because I don't have the best computer in the world. So anyway, so put it into here, give it a paint, export this. So yeah, a little bit ambitious. We'll see how we get on. And then put it into Unreal Engine and Light. So no pressure at all. So we'll see how we get on. I'm just going to sort of doodle along. Now, as I mentioned before, I was hoping that we'd have a few students who were able to sort of drop by for Donna to have a chat with. So what I might suggest, Donna, if I'm not sure if you're actually with us at the moment, but if you are going to be joining us in the session or joining us outside of the session, perhaps you could, I think you provided me with a link to a little video that you'd done, so I can make that available for the students. But just to make students aware, for anyone who's watching this post you know, after this morning, that they can contact you regarding anything game related in terms of, you know, careers, things like that. So so that's it really. So if anyone wants to sort of jump in, you know, at any time, I will be available. So I'm going to just sort of crack on now, do a bit of work. I'll see what I'll do is I'll move this window up into my other monitor just so I can see any messages coming there. Hopefully you can see my screen okay. And I'm going to get cracking. So away we go. So my main aim with this now is, I mean, you could, technically what you could do is you could export all these out, or even just export one. We could do that, export that out, and model that up, you know, sculpt into it. I've done the entire scene because I wanted to kind of add a bit more texture to the ground and also add some like kind of rock type, you know, bit of rubble, things like that. And so I decided just to kind of export it as a whole. So most of you should be familiar with Maya now. And if I just, or maybe I just needed to shift those down. Let's have a look on 3D Coat. I think they're looking all right. Yeah, yeah. So you'll just basically need to sculpt out your shapes. I'll just move this back up again. So sculpt out the shapes like so. I'm just going to move this down here just for the purposes of just showing you, just so his feet aren't disappearing. But essentially you want something like that. It's basically a cube, put some subdivisions in there. Again, it's another cube, put some subdivisions. I've used the bevel tool just to go around, just to give it a basic shape. I've used the rotate tool just to kind of make some of them a little bit uneven, so like almost like they're kind of hinges. If you're not familiar with hinges, look into it. I'm sure most of us are familiar with things like Stonehenge. But basically it's assumed that they were ritual grounds, like a sort of animistic or paganistic kind of sacred spots for doing things like ceremonies, particularly things like solar eclipses or things like that, or stuff to do with the moon, things like that. So the idea with this scene is it's just this kind of character. I've got the character from Mixamo, by the way. You'll probably recognize him from previous videos that I've done. So this idea of this walking through this mysterious little scene here. So it's mainly like a sort of diorama. So once you've done that, I'm going to come back to the staff as well. That's something else I'm going to have a look at. But for the meantime, I'm just going to have a look at this scene. So I'm going to minimize that. And I'm going to come to the scene. And what I want to do is I want to just really start having a look at maybe just doing a bit of sculpting into this. So I thought a good thing to do maybe is start just smoothing it out. It's perhaps a little bit strong. It depends, you might be quite happy with like, the kind of angular look on this, but I want to just really get it looking sort of fairly smooth. So I'm using the shift key here. I've got the build on here. And again, if you want to work in ZBrush, of course, absolutely fine. You can achieve pretty much the same results. So yeah, just basically going through. Now, of course, like because this is a demo, I'm kind of zipping through a lot of this. You can take your own sweet time with this. I'm just really doing this. It's a bit like I don't know if anyone watches any kind of cookery programs or anything like that, but it's the same thing, right? They have to kind of zip through it just to kind of give you the general overall idea. So with this, really, I would say, okay, so how much time should you spend on this? It could be anything for an hour up to 2 hours, maybe more, just depending on what you wanted to kind of go for. And also it depends on LOD. So again, if you don't know what LOD is, generally it's a term that's used in gaming called level of design. So depending on the level of design and how much detail you want to put in there is really, it depends on like how much time you spend on it. So for example, if this were to be like a top-down game where you've got this scene, or maybe you've got these assets in here, you're not going to go into massive detail. Let's say you've got a little character that's kind of running through, going through a little kind of scene, fighting kind of bad guys along the way. You're not going to put a massive amount of detail. However, if it's going to be something a bit more like just a general sort of third-person player, or maybe even a first-person player, you're perhaps going to want to put a little bit more detail in, and you're going to see a lot more detail within the rocks and things like that. So again, it's like you're making a judgment, a value judgment on it. So after I've generally smoothed all this over, I'm going to start probably using something like the scrape tool or let's have a look now, maybe flatten. Let's have a look at that. It's probably a little bit strong. Let's take that down a bit. Chisel, let's have a look at that. Chisel's quite cool. It's quite strong though. I might just take that down a little bit. So, you know, play around. Have a look at what you've got at your disposal in terms of tools. Ditto with, you know, if you're working in ZBrush, you know, have a look at playing around with some of the different alpha brushes. You know, if you look over here, I'm going to come round to these in a minute, but you know, certainly I've got this on a sort of standard brush at the moment. But yeah, have a look at playing around with different alpha brushes as well, and just experiment. Don't be too concerned about you know, just trying to kind of quickly getting the work done. You really want to be experimenting, and certainly for those of you who are kind of going to be looking at this video over, say, the Christmas period, you want to be I would say, this is my advice, of course, apart from, you know, just having a, you know, a relaxing time, you'd really benefit from you know, playing around with some of the software that we've been exposing you to, just to you know, just get familiar with it, and again, you can sort of relax, you know, when you haven't got that you haven't got the pressures of deadlines and things like that. It's very often good just to kind of unwind a little bit and just take the pressure off and have a play. All right. So I'm just trying to get the bare minimum in there just to kind of give you some idea of what you can achieve with that. So again, I'm kind of just blasting through this really just to try and get the general overall look, because as I mentioned before at the beginning of the video, we've got quite a few steps here because we're going to be exporting this, putting it into Substance Painter, and then we're going to be opening up Unreal Engine. I'm going to be putting it in there and basically just showing you the kind of finished scene, along with, welcome Donnie, welcome. So I am recording this video, by the way, so you've not missed a lot, but essentially just going through the process of blocking out. So just to recap, going through, where are we? Go back to here. So basically I blocked out a scene with this kind of character with a staff, and I've got some reference there you can see in the background. So it's going to be this kind of old dude with a staff. This staff's going to be glowing. It's going to have this globe on it. I'm going to be painting that in with some emissive paint. That should be pretty cool. And then, so basically taking that, then coming into 3D coat, but you could use ZBrush as well, just to sort of sculpt into it, put some nice little details in there, and then we're going to retopologize and then put this into Substance Painter and paint it up, then export, and then put it into Unreal. So and I'm hoping, because I've got, what have I got on the go at the moment? I've got this, Maya, Substance Painter, and also I've got Screencast-O-Matic recording. So if it all gets fried and crashes, then I'll just have to sort of start again. So I am pushing this computer, and this computer is not the best in the world. There's yeah, it's it ain't good, but we'll see. We'll persevere. Right, I'm just going to just do a bit of, I think that's better. Get a bit of a quicker result going on there. So generally sculpting like it's sort of been carved, like so. And then there's the ground as well. I'm going to come to that in a minute. So the ground, yeah, I'd like to, what I want to do is I want to kind of just build this up a little bit. So I'm going to go to build, back up to build, and I might have a look at some of these alpha brushes here. Something like this might be quite nice, because what I want is a kind of build up the ground a wee bit, you know. I might see to kind of put some objects in there as well, but I might indeed just leave, I'll see anyway, but I might just leave that and put those in Unreal Engine. We'll see how we're doing. I don't want to spend a massive amount of time, but I'm allowing myself like a couple of hours from start to finish to try and get this done. So yeah, so no pressure at all. We'll just see how we get on. Okay, so basically just put in a bit of detail in here, and again you can kind of bump up the, so these, the idea with this is these would kind of be like kind of rocks or something like whatever, you know, bits of ground going in there. Same thing over here as well. So, you know, just again playing around with the intensity, the strength. So that's already sort of quite effective, really. Quite happy with that. I might treat these little things as stones, so it'll be a kind of combination of maybe like a grassy texture, which I'll paint on in Substance, and bits of kind of rock coming through. I mean, that's the general idea. I am making this up on the hoof, by the way, folks. So we, you know, you're seeing this appear before your eyes the same as me. I really don't quite know. Well, that's a bit of a lie. I do know what I'm doing, but at the same time, I'm just allowing for other possibilities to come through. So there's a bit of design work, but at the same time, just really just having a play, having some fun. You've got to have a bit of fun, particularly if it's your birthday, which is it's my birthday today. So so yeah, so I'm definitely gonna try and have a bit of fun today. Although I am going to be around, of course, to talk to you guys if you wish. All right, so quite happy with that so far. All right, I don't want to put too much detail in. It's one of the things that George from Rare Games, I remember him talking about this when he came in to talk to the students, is just trying to avoid too much noise with when you're making models. I might just check to see, are we still recording? I think we are still recording, aren't we? Yeah. Right. So once you've kind of got that, I might just now zip to using cracks. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add, holding down now, I want to make sure it's not too strong. I'm going to hold down Control and just add some cracks in here as well. So maybe some at the bottom there. Like so. Add some there. And again, as I mentioned before, if you want to take your sweet time with this, by all means, please do. You know, you don't have to do it as quickly as I'm doing it. Particularly if it's like, you know, if you're working on a personal project, there's no reason to. You know, just take your time. Like I say, have some fun. And also just try and be sparing with when you're doing your sculpting. So for example, I'm looking at that, that's looking all right. I probably want to try and avoid making it look too uniform. So again, and where it's perhaps a little bit too much, it's a bit too intense, I might just use the Shift key just to smooth some of this out. But I think that's kind of looking all right. I might just put a little bit on the sides there. although you're not really going to sort of see that much of that. But I think we're pretty much there, folks, in terms of, yeah. Now, if you wanted to, of course, you know, just go straight from this and say put it into Unreal. Of course, what you could do is you could just, you know, bake this out, even create your own shader. That's something else you could do. I'm not going to do this in this instance, but, you know, of course, you can do the entire thing pretty much in 3D Coat. But just for today, I'm just going to use this for its sculpt function. So once you're done with that, I'm going to go through to the model. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go read topo via decimation and click OK on there. Okay, so that's decimated that. I'm going to bake that now. Now, we're going to put this into Substance Painter. So I'm going to make it for that, 2048 by 2048. That's fine. Click OK. Fingers crossed, and that's nailed it. All right, let's go and have a look at the handiwork. All right, I'll just go and make that disappear. Got to go through to the paint shop. There we go. Looks like it's baked out all right. If I hit W, you'll see there now it's decimated the entire thing. That's all looking fine and dandy. All right. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and export this. I'm going to make a folder. So I'm going to go to Desktop and create a new folder, and I'll call this Mystical Scene. And I'll call this Mystical Scene again. Oops, there we go. Save that out. Now it's going to save all the textures and stuff, whatever. Now we can see if we can import these into Substance, but it's mainly the sculpt. So I'm going to click OK. Right. Now let's go and have a look at Substance Painter. Right. Let's go to File, New. Let's go and find our model. Let's go into the desktop and go and find our folder. Mystical Scene. There we are. We've got our OBJ. I'm going to make this 2048. Apart from that, that's all good. And let's see what it gives us. Drum roll. I'm just praying that it doesn't crash because, like I say, it's I've got quite a few things going on at the moment, program-wise. So we will see. But don't be surprised if it all goes kaplunk. Oh, no, not looking bad. Okay, that's... Oh, got a happy birthday from my niece. I think I've still got WhatsApp open. Okay. Maybe I should just... close that down for the second. Right. Right, so that's all looking pretty good. Okay, nice. Nice. Now, one of the things I didn't do is one of the things in my haste, I was going to do a bit of carving here. Now I can have a look and see what it looks like after I've put some texture on there, but what I might do is I might just revisit that and maybe carve into it, but we'll see, we'll see. But in the meantime, that's all looking all right. One of the things I will need to do though is go to the texture settings, and I'm just going to bake these mesh maps. Make the output 2048 by 2048, and then we'll just bake them out. Okay, looks like it's done it. Okay. We've got a bit of a funny thing going on with the bake though, with the and this happened in a previous video I was doing with Paul's model, is in the ambient occlusion there's a bit of a sort of weird shadow, so we could take that out. Where are we? That should get rid of it, and there we are. Right, so let's start having a paint. So like the previous video that I did, what I did first off, I'm going to create another layer. There we go. And we'll just call this, let's call it stone. And I'm going to choose one of these concrete materials. And we'll have a look at doing one of these. So I'm going to choose a brush. So let's have a look at the brushes, see what we've got on hand. At this point, it's not massively important, but I might go, well, you know, just have a play, really. We don't have to necessarily. So I'm using the control and right button mouse to get the size. You can see there on the bottom right hand corner, kind of gives you an idea of the scale of the brush. And then you should be able to just kind of paint him. That's looking all right. I might just choose another brush, perhaps something like that, perhaps. And again, if you're not happy with the materials, you know, have a bit of a play around. Let's have a look at going on with a darker color. Something like that maybe might be a bit more favorable. So basically you can go around and I'll just do this one for now, and then I'll just I'll do the rest. So you could take something like that, so you've got this nice kind of stone kind of texture. Now we've lost those cracks. We can have a look at maybe trying to kind of put those back in a little bit later. But what I want to do is I want to just have a look at putting some darker material on top. Maybe something like that. I don't know. I might just take the opacity down a little bit, like so. And I'll go back to the brushes and let's have a look at, I might just bump that up a little bit. And this is really just sort of creating a bit of sort of grime, you know, just so it doesn't look so clean. And again, one of the things is as well why I wanted to kind of do this this stream and this video is just to kind of show you really how quickly you can get a scene together, but then really with the use of Unreal Engine, how you can basically where are we? Something funny going on with the brush there. Let me just hit F. How you can essentially light your scene and make it look certainly more interesting doing it that way than trying to put masses of amounts of detail in there. So that's the main kind of purpose, really, just like using this tech to your advantage. I was doing a tutorial with a student recently, and we were looking at the work that they were doing and saying that, you know, you don't have to put masses of detail into this. Use the technology, you know, have a play around with it, and don't concentrate so much on putting masses of amounts of detail in there. You know, let it do the work for you. What I'm doing here is I'm just going to go to, I'm just looking for, now where is it? It's dots. Maybe I could try that one there. Kyle's spatter. But it was the dots I was looking for primarily. I might be missing it somewhere. Let's go with that one then. And I'll just check that out. So what I'm going to do here is just sort of take some of these away. That's a little bit strong, that. I might just take that down a little bit. Let's go again. But I was doing this with Paul's model, where I was just kind of just basically taking out. So going on with like another that grime, but then sort of taking it away. Now, ideally, what you need to do is put that on another layer so it doesn't affect. You know, you've got your base layer there, but I'm just going to go in with that. But you know, the results are, you know, I mean, Substance Painter is just is mind blowing, like what you can do with this. But it's you know, just that kind of detail. And another thing I was using as well was this lichen texture, and I'll put that on another layer. So I'm just going to come around there. But I mean, it's pretty cool, right? I mean, just straight off the bat, you know, you can do something like that in a relatively short space of time. It's crazy. I'm going to just put this in now, lichen. So I'm just going to create this another material here. I'm going to go back through to the brushes. Actually, I just wanted to kind of put this on pause a second. I'm not sure if, because I know we've got a few people in there. So hi Paul, hi Donnie. We were going to have Donna joining us for just to say a little bit about careers and things like that. I might just see if I can I message her? Let's have like I'll just say, hi Donna, are you there? Question mark. We'll see. She might dip in, because if she might want to just sort of say a few things about the services that they provide with careers and things like that. But I'll wait to see if she gets back to me. I've just DM'd her anyway, and we will see. I might even just email her as well. Let's have a look. Ah, yes, you are. Okay. I was going to say, have a and we can start see Let's see if I've got this right, because I'm not sure if I might have to just rewind on this one. So we shall see. I might have to just go back, because I'm sure I didn't. There's one step that I've not done, which I should have done. No, it looks like I've not got the glare going on there. So, oh, there we are. I think, yeah, there we go. Yeah, we've got the glare. I did do it right, I think. We'll see. We shall see. But I think that's, or is that just a balloon? Let me just go back. I'm not entirely convinced by that. It looks nice, but I'm not entirely convinced. So let's just go back a few steps. It's going to go back a few steps, folks. So just give me a second. I'm going to bin that. And got the emissive set up. Got that set up. We go to here, and then we're going to create a fill layer. And the properties, we're just going to make sure that we've just got, there we go, we've just got emissive turned on. So just making sure we've got emissive turned on. Then it's going to choose the color. So again, I'll go for something like a turquoisey color. Or maybe go for something different, because I think I did turquoise last time. What about something like purple or something like that? Purpley pink, something like that. Okay, that's all good. Then we're going to add a mask, black mask. Right, there we go. And then let's see. Let's choose a decent brush. Let's have a look. Something like, I'll go with the dots for now. I'm just going to reduce that down a little bit. And not sure about the strength of that. Let's try something else. I'm not getting the desired effect though, so why is that? Done that. I've missed one of the steps I must have done. So I'm not getting the desired effect. So maybe I need to make it a little bit lighter. Maybe that's it. It just needs to be a little bit lighter. It might be something like that. I think that's it. It just wasn't light enough. All right. And I might just turn this down a little bit. It's a little bit glary. So let's just take that glare down a little bit. One thing's up. That's probably it, isn't it? Emissive. Where are we? Want emissive. Intensity. That's it. Sorry, I was missing one of the details. There we go. That's what we want to be seeing. That wowing. Okay, that's a bit more like it. Sorry, I was missing one of the stages. So let's have a look at maybe something like that. I might just go back to that purple now and increase that purple. There we are. That's what I wanted to see. Cool. I think we're back up and running now. All right. That's what I wanted to see. And now I can just dampen down this glare with the post-processing. So just so it's not so crazily over the top. Oh, that's pretty cool. Ooh, I like that. That's mad. I like it. I like it a lot. Right, I might go with something like that. Again, as I mentioned in the previous video, we're not going to, you know, with all of this all looks great, and if you want to kind of do a render out from this, that's fine. But we're going to be putting it into Unreal Engine. So, and I'm just looking at the time, so about we're still good because I'd sort of thought we're probably going to do something like 2 hours. So, right. So I'm going to go back to the dots. I'm going to use the eraser tool, if it'll let me. Oh, they're grayed out for some reason. So look, why is that? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Right, it seems to be grayed out. Why is that? Ah, that's better. It's because I've not got the mask selected. And let's have a look at going and selecting one of these brushes. So something like might even go for the cracks. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's try that. So I'm just going to sort of go around and just kind of create a bit of sort of bleed with these cracks, and then I want to kind of break it up a little bit. So just take that down a little bit. And then I'll use the eraser tool, and I'll use the same brush. Let's have a look at that. And just sort of dampen it down as well. So again, I'm just going to try and like make a bit of ground now. So I might just leave that as is. And what I want to do now is I just want to kind of do the other pillars, and then we're going to have a look at the ground. So now we've established that, we've got all that sorted out. I can now go back to the stone. Right, let's just get the rest of these rocks done. Right, so let's have a look at something like that concrete texture. Helps if you select the brush JSON. Right. What about that? That's better. Okay, let's get the show on the road. Right. So again, you don't need to move this quick. I'm just doing this for the purposes of the video, but I'm just going to blast in the textures now. And a bit on the ground as well. But again, as I mentioned before, you can take your own sweet time with this. It's got this weird, I'm not sure if it's me, but it's got this weird thing sometimes where when you're working around the model, it'll kind of get stuck. And if it ever does that, just go and select F. And it'll basically bring you back out. I don't know if anyone else has ever found that with the Substance, but yeah, it's a bit of a glitch. Could be me, but it's happening nonetheless. Right, and I'll just get this in. I might just increase the size of that brush a little bit. I just really want to just blast that in there. Right. Right. Well, I'm having fun. I don't know about you, but I'm certainly having some fun with this. This is great. Okay, so I've got that there, and I just need to add a few more features to it. So, for example, I'm just going to use the eraser tool like before, and look at the brushes and something like the dots wherever they are. There they are. I'll use that, and again, I'll just take the strength of that down. So like the other stone, you can see there, I'm just going to start taking away. So it'll just reveal the material underneath. As I mentioned before, you can indeed just create another layer and do it that way. That way you've got a bit more control. I'm just relying on the material that's there already underneath to just to deal with it, but either way works. Well, so far my computer's not exploded. I mean, you know, it's still early days, but it's doing surprisingly well. Consider that it's ancient, and I've got 3 programs on the go. I might, you know what, I might do, no, I'll leave it open for now. I was going to close down Maya, but I think I'll just leave it for the time being. Who are we getting? We're getting a message. All right. Okay. Okay, put it on there. Do this other one. Dun, 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 dun. I feel like I should have some music on in the background, but anyway, you'll have to listen to me humming. Right, okay, so, all right. So once I've kind of got the bits of stone, see, it's done that thing again. So hit F, and then it brings it back. It's really annoying when it happens. You kind of get stuck in a rut, and you can't get out. Right. Yeah, you just watch out for things like, where are we? This stuff going on where you kind of got like stretching going on, things like that. Let's go back to using the pen. There we go. So as I mentioned before in the previous video, if you're using your Wacom pen, Alt to rotate around, Alt and Control to move it around this way. You don't have to press any buttons like that. And then if you want to zoom in and out, it's Alt top button on the pen to go in and out like that. So it's just so you know. All right. Okay. So let's get some of that liching on there. Right. So I'm going to go through to the liching layer. I'm going to go through to materials. Type in liching. There we are. Get that in there. Go back to the paintbrush. I want to select a decent brush as well. Oh, has it not done it? Let's do that again then. Materials, liching. Right. Let's just. There we go. Thank you. Right, and then brushes. And we'll go and select that. Dots, wherever it is. Dots, come in dots. There we are, dots. Right, cool. Okay. Right, so let's go and get some of that onto the stones. And again, just be sparing. Don't put too much on there. Okay, saving. Thank you very much. I'd sooner it did this than crashed, because at least then if it does crash, all is not lost. All right. Okay, and just get a bit of that lichen on there and on the other side. A bit on there as well. And of course with this scene as well, I mean, I'm not going to be able to achieve this in this tutorial, but of course there's so much more you can add to this in terms of textures, but also when we go into Unreal, things like things like foliage. You can have some like grass or some weeds around here as well, things like that, you know. World's your oyster. Right. Let's have a drink. Okay, so got that in place. Now I wanted to go and do something just at the base there, and this is where I think I added it. It may have been with a stone. I used another material. I think it was something like that, and it's just kind of like just to add a bit of sort of funkiness at the base, like so. Again, it might be a little bit strong, but that's not looking too bad there. So it just makes it kind of look a bit more worn, things like that. Just zoom out a little bit, and I just want to do it on the rest of the bases as well. Now this is where, you know, we lost our cracks. We could. I've not tried. Let's have a look. there may be a function there to import import textures into Substance. I've not played around with that so much, so that's perhaps something, that's perhaps another tutorial. There we go, import resources. So we could probably import some textures that way. I'm not going to worry about that for now though. All I'm going to do is just add in some of these textures from here, but I will see if I can just add some cracks in there into the scene, into the stones. Put it away. And just play around with the sizes as well. You don't want to keep everything at the same size. Maybe just to add some around and about as well. Around here, on there. Bit on there, bit on there, bit on there. Again though, not too much. Right. And then I might just change the brush. So let's just have a quick look at these cracks again. Where are they? Where are they? So if there's, there we go. So something like, well, let's go for cracks. Let's try that, shall we? Okay, and then we'll just come into here, say something like that. Just increase the size of it. Let's have a look. It's not looking too bad actually. I was perhaps looking for something a little bit stronger. Might have a look just at some of the other. Let's have a look at this one here. That looks a little bit stronger, that does. So we shall see. Yeah, just a bit more definition. And again, you can take your time with this. I'm not going to go overboard because time is of the essence. It's a bit like Bob Ross. I don't know if anyone ever watched the Bob Ross, you know. Sometimes he'll be like doing a piece and you just think, yes, that's it, you've got it. And then he just goes and puts like a big like black shape in the middle of the picture, and you're like, what are you doing? So I don't want to do that with this, and not that I'm comparing myself to the great Bob Ross, but you know, when you're doing stuff, just be mindful about not putting too much in there. Sometimes less is more. That's all I'm saying. Right. Okay, so we're not far off. I'm going to put a bit in with the ground. Let's just reduce the size of that there. I'm going to do a bit on the ground. I'm going to finish this part off with the lettering. I'm going to put some like lettering on there, and then we shall export it and put it into Unreal Engine. Right. So got that sorted. Now let's have a look at going back to. I'll probably put it on the same layer. So look at the materials. We want something like I don't know. Is there anything like ground? We've got some ground there, I guess. Could put maybe try that. Let's try that and have a look at putting like a sort of standard one of these brushes on there. Okay. And again, I'm just doing this really, really quick, folks. You don't have to rush this. I'm not sure about that material, actually. Let's just see if there's anything a bit more wood. I don't know, that looks a bit iffy. Oddly enough, that's kind of closer to, I think, to what I was kind of wanting. So we'll go with wood. And we'll just blast this in there again. I'm going to use the mouse for this. And sometimes I'll flip between because I'm using like the Wacom tablet. But sometimes it's it can be a bit, particularly if you want to kind of move quickly, it can be quite cumbersome. So I'm just using the mouse now to just try and blast through getting this ground done. Oh, we've got Erjan. Welcome, Erjan. I didn't see you there.
Hello.
Right.
Hello. I said
So I am recording this, so it can look back at what I've been doing, but essentially it's creating a little environment for a character. I'm going to be putting it into Unreal Engine and doing a bit of lighting. So we're about an hour and a half in. We had a little bit of a break because we had a nice lady called Donna come in talking about careers, and so probably about another, I'd say about another hour. I'm not in a particular rush at the moment. Like I say, I'm having some fun, and it is my birthday today, by the way. I'm gonna, yeah, cheers. So
happy birthday!
Cheers. So I'm gonna
yeah, happy birthday, Jason.
have some fun. It's my birthday, so and I can't think of anything better to do. Well, there's obviously stuff you could be doing. You know, I don't know, winning the lottery, maybe something like that. I don't know, but certainly here's a good place to be on your birthday, having a bit of fun, doing a bit of modeling, and being with lovely people. So, right, let's have a look at changing the brush on that. I might just have a look at these dots. And maybe not, maybe dirt spots. Let's have a look at that. I wanted something just a bit more subtle just to put in there.
I'm thinking of making a anatomy tutorial because I've been
oh, cool.
I've been doing the face in ZBrush.
Yeah.
Learn some tricks if you.
No, we'll have to hook up and you have to show me what you're doing. That sounds very cool. Love it. We've got lots of the students who are crying out for ZBrush stuff. Rod's been doing some brilliant videos with that. I think ZBrush, Substance Painter, a whole myriad. I think Paul did me a little list of stuff which we can talk about doing. Also, one of the things I'm going to be looking at over the holiday period that Paul was looking for, which would be really useful for everyone else as well, is doing hard surface modeling, painting as well, which would be pretty cool. So absolutely, I love all that stuff. So and Rob's pretty cool at that stuff as well. So no pressure, Rob, but yeah, that'd be nice to see doing some stuff.
I've shared it if you want to see it. It's still in
No,
I've shared it if you want to see it. It's still in progress. I've been working
brilliant.
for 2 days.
Right, so it's already got work in progress. Brilliant. Brilliant. Right. What are we getting here? I'm going to hit F again because it's doing this weird thing where, right. Yeah, it's got this weird glitch where you kind of get stuck. It's like you get sort of stuck in the geometry and you can't get out. So just going to, yeah, I wanted it kind of like almost like sand, like this character's kind of like come across these things in the desert, that kind of thing, whatever. So
yeah.
But as I was mentioning earlier in the video, it's okay putting lots of detail in, but a big thing is lighting. Is getting the lighting right, because the lighting can do so much with a scene. You can actually achieve, should I say, a lot by doing very little. It's yeah, so that's part of the reason why I'm doing a lot of this stuff. I'm not sure about that. Ink splatter. Maybe these crosshatch things are quite cool. Or the hatching there. Let's have a look at that. That might be a bit more. Yeah, quite like that. Let's do a bit more.
Articles, it's a really good attribute for substance. Articles, it's a really good attribute for substance when you can put like you don't have to paint water drippings. You just use a particle.
I was looking at some videos on that. I think I might see about doing some videos on that. There's some great things like even like water and paint as well, where you can kind of do
Instead of trying to do everything by hand, you just let it simulate it. Instead of trying to do everything by hand, you just let it simulate it.
Love it. It's just an amazing program. It is. I mean, I love 3D Coat. Love it to death. But certainly, Substance Painter. It's got some nice little things in there. So is 3D Coat, but this has got some nice toys that you can play with. So it's not to be overlooked. Right. Okay, so I've kind of got the bases in there, like so. I just want to add a bit of a bit of shading just around the edges, just to give it a. So I'll probably choose something like, where are we? Something maybe like that. Brushes wise, I'll probably use. What's this one here? I mean, again, I'm not really. No, I'm not keen on that. I've kind of planned it, but not planned it. So there's a lot of this stuff where I'm just doing it on the hoof. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to undo that. I'm going to create another layer. Because what I want to do is I want to kind of, I'll just title this shading. What I want to do is I want to just add some darkness in here and then sort of take it away with the eraser tool. So again, I'm just going to blast it in there around the edges like so. Blast it in there. All right, and then just reduce it down a little bit and just go around the base. Like so, or some around there. Just take it around the base. And some around there. That's all looking tickety-boo. I'm amazed my computer's not exploded. I've got so many programs open and for some reason it's behaving itself. Maybe it's because of my birthday. I don't know. But it's behaving itself nonetheless. Oh. Right. Right. So we've got that in there. And then what I want to do is I want to then go to the eraser tool. And I might go with that dots again because you can get some quite nice effects with that. Dots, right, and then taketh away. I giveth and taketh away. Right. Right. So again, just sort of breaks it up a little bit. Something like that. Again, just around these areas. It kind of almost like creates it like you can sort of see like in the recesses now. So it's not so like blanket. But you can already see there now the general effect, which I think is looking pretty cool. If I do say so myself, it's looking pretty cool. You know, in the space of time that we've done this in, that's not looking too bad. Right, so okay. And if I want to, maybe I could even use that again, use that erase tool. So I'm now going to take some away, maybe on the go to the base layer. No, not too strong. So if I just take the size of that up, and then what I can do is just actually take some away on the actual stone layer. So that's the thing I've been, so almost like creates like a highlight, because of course the base layer for this is just white. So again, sort of create this little highlighted area here. See, it's done this. Oh no, there we go. I thought I got stuck again in that weird loop. Right. Okay, so what time are we at? So it's about 1 hour and 46. Now I'm going to leave that there. Of course, I could continue working into it and working into it. But again, I'm not going to do that. I'm now going to go to the fill layer. And go to the paintbrush. So it's got the white layer selected there. Now I want a, I'm not sure which brush I was using again. I think it might have been one of these. Where are we? It was one of these brushes. Might even try that. Ink Dirty. No, let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a whirl. Right. Let's reduce the size of the brush. I'm going to go back to my Wacom tablet now. Look at that. How cool is that? Right. And do some ancient runic symbols. I'd love to spend a bit more time on this. Maybe even just do a bit more kind of, you know, researchy type stuff on it, but we don't really have the time. But I can't, I mean, this is so cool. You know, just to be able to paint in light, it's just crazy. But anyway, something like that. So maybe even something like, it's like sort of Chinese characters, but you know, runic kind of lettering. Let's see if I can, well, tell you what, look, we don't have to rush this. I'm just going to have a look on my other monitor. I'm just going to have a look at some of the symbols. So, so I'm just looking on Pinterest and just see if I can get any. Oh, there we are. We've got some reference there. So ancient symbols. This is like someone on DeviantArt. All right, so let's have a look at that. That's. I'm hoping these aren't sort of like. I'm assuming these are kind of like not satanic type of lettering. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. That looks a bit dodgy. What about this one here? You want something like, you know, almost like cuneiform. Ah, there we are. Yeah, we've got that cuneiform there. Something like that. Yeah, there we go. So what I'll do is I'll move that over to one side, and I'm going to have a look at, and then and I mean, how cool is that? I'm just doing my own version of it, but we've basically got these things where it's like two of those things sticking out. I don't want to go too overboard with it, but something like that. And something like that maybe. Let's have a look at this one here. Bum, 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 bum. Right, let's have a look. Maybe I'll do something like...
Jason, can you use stencils for this?
I
Jason,
so.
can you
Yeah,
use
you probably
stencils
could.
for this
Yeah, stencils.
technique?
Yeah. I've not played around with that, but I don't see any reason why not. Why you couldn't just stamp something on there.
So I'm just thinking something that's very
Yeah,
clean.
because I'm just thinking something that's
Say for like
very
another piece of
clean.
armor would be pretty cool.
Say for like a
I mean, one of the things I
another
want to
piece of
do,
environment
I
would
want
be
to do a
pretty cool.
video, you know, as opposed to doing fantasy as doing like sci-fi. So more like kind of neon, you know, like
Yeah.
Blade Runner-esque, you know, clean lines or something like Blade Runner-y,
Yeah,
kind of
what I was
Tron
thinking.
Legacy, something like that. Would be pretty cool. Yeah. So that's yeah. I think I talked
That'd
about
be
in the
cool.
video that about the applications, but certainly I'd like to have more of a play around with it, stuff like that. Okay, so let's have a look. And then something like that cuneiform. They do this thing with like it's almost like a number one, something like that, and bum 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 bum. I think it's something I think you did, Paul, as well. Is that bee thing crops up every now and then, doesn't it? It's like a sort of bee shape there.
Yeah.
And
I think
Yeah.
the
I think
model that I made actually spelled Earth.
the model that I made actually spelled Earth.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, that was the
So
the tree design
yeah, that was the relevance to the tree design I did as well. So
right, so let's say we're good to go with that. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to export it into a folder. But before I do that, I'm going to have to zip to the loo. I know it's probably too much information, but I'll be back in a second because I'm absolutely thirsty. Right, I'm going to export this now. Export textures. And I'm going to put it on the desktop. We'll go desktop, and I'm going to create a folder. I'll call it what was it? Mystical Scene 2. Mystical Scene 2. 3, 2. Right. And then select the folder. Right, we'll leave it as PNG. So that looks fine. And then the output, we want that. The preset at Unreal Engine 4 packed. That's all good. And I'm sure there was something else. That's all looking good. Oh, it's probably going to be next. I think we do the thing where we export. So that's all fine. Got that sorted out. Go to settings, and then we're going to go export. There we go. And then it's just exporting that out. Now it does this weird thing. It did it before where it doesn't tell you it's done. It just does it. Like you see there, it's exported all the files, but it doesn't say done. You just basically have to click off the box, which is what you do. So I've done that, and then also I'm just going to export the mesh. Go export, and we'll put it in our little folder, Mystical Scene 2. Bada bing, right? Now I'm going to save this scene. I'll just leave it in documents. I'll just call it mystical. Oop, to help if it spell mystical scene. And I'm going to create a new scene because I'm going to import the character staff now. So I have to wait for that to save out. Go new. Okay, and again I'm going to make this 2048. We'll need to import the file, so if I just come out of that a second, go into Maya. I was going to try to sculpt it, but I think I'll just leave it, and I'll just because of time, and I'll just go to I'll just export it out straight from here. Okay, there we are. So there's our character that we're going to be using. So I'm going to be exporting him as well. But yeah, this thing here. So I've done this really quick. I just basically did like an automatic unwrap, UV unwrap with that. There we go. And I'm going to go export. It's probably slowing down a bit because I've got quite a few programs open. So export selection. And we'll put it in the first folder. We'll open that and we'll call this staff. Export. Right. I think what I'm going to do now is just to free things up. I'm going to save this scene. And I'll just call it Old Man Mystical Scene. Save, and then we'll close it down just so we can free up a bit of space on the computer. Okay, close that down. Not even sure if this is still recording. Oh, it is, surprisingly. Okay, well hopefully that will shut down soon. And then what we're going to do here is with file, going to go and find our file now, find our staff, open that, 2048, click OK. So hopefully we'll have this done in about the next half hour. Okay, it's taking its time for some reason. Oh dear, it's not responding. Oh, there we are. We've got it. Okay, so I'm going to be really, really quick with this. I'm going to add... Oh, sorry, before I do that, yeah, of course, I've got to just do the... baking.
Texture settings.
Texture settings, yeah, texture settings.
It's in texture settings.
Underneath that. So if you press the X.
No, it's underneath there.
Next to
So if you press the X, and then next to layers.
No, there's nothing's happening. You see.
So up a bit.
Oh, there we are. Yeah, there we are. Thanks, thanks, Paul. There we go. And bake mesh maps.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We've got a few things on there. Output size, we'll make that at 2048.
It's alright.
Okie dokie. All right, let's go back to layers. I'm going to create another layer. Right, let's have a look at putting some wood. Right, so maybe some rough wood. And let's go and choose a brush. Or we'll just stick with this brush maybe. Change that. So I'm just holding down the left button mouse and control just to change the angle. Again, ideally what I would have liked to have done is got this into either into 3D Coat or into ZBrush and painted it, but you could do that, I'm sure, in your own time. And we'll just put some around there. I'll just scale that down a little bit. So you know, if you're able to sort of sculpt it, you can put some like really nice features on, stuff like that around the edges. But anyway, and I might just see if I can. I'll just go and select another material for some cracks. Let's have a look at something like. Let's try that, and I'll try one of the crack brushes. Maybe something like that. Is that going to be strong enough? Perhaps a little bit too subtle. This is a little bit stronger. Let me try a different material. Let's try that. That's more like it. Something a bit more definition. I'm going to rub all that top stuff out of the way, but let's put some cracks around there. Some in the middle. Some around the edge. That's it. Okay, got something like that. And then for the just to clean up here, I'm going to use just like a basic kind of brush, and we'll just take that out. Oops. Let's try that again. What we can do on the edges here, we've got this like Photoshop, we've got like a smudge tool, so I can just kind of play around with that as well. I'm not going to get too hung up on this because the glow will hopefully mask some of this anyway. Right. Let's just go back to the paint and right, I'm going to create another I'm going to create a fill layer now. I'll add mask. Hold on a second. Let me just come back to my notes. So we'll do a fill layer. We'll turn off all the other things apart from, oh, we need to do the emissive, don't we? One second. There we go. Now, what colour shall I do for this? Could just be white, or could be blue. Maybe something like blue. So once I've done that, I'm going to go through to the layers, and what we'll do is we'll add a black mask. Now, hopefully, we should see we've got some blue there, but we've not messed around with the post-processing, so let's just have a quick look. And again, we'll play around with the glare. Leave that as is for the time being. Something like that. Maybe something like that. We'll go with that. Right. Okay. Sorted. Now, I wanted to just have a quick look at trying putting a different sort of brush on there. Let's have a look. That could be quite interesting. Again, I'm just going to do a little experiment and just see what might work with this. Something like that. So look at that even. It's quite cool. Or maybe I'll just stick with that. So look, I might just stick with the hatch. Or maybe the crack. Oh dear, decisions. Let's have a look at... See, that's quite nice as well. I quite like that thing with the leaves. It's very pretty. What about the thing with the cracks? Let's type it in. See, I quite like that. That's quite mad. It's like one of those Van der Graaf generator things. I might go with that actually. Let's just undo that then. Kind of looks like mad science. That was pretty cool. It was pretty badass. Let's go with that. And again, for this bit of sort of overspill, we can maybe just reduce it down a bit and have a play around, just painting these recesses as well. Okay, how are we doing for time? Alright, so I estimate I'll need to boot up Unreal Engine. I'll need to export the character. It shouldn't take too long. I reckon probably like another half an hour, but we'll see. Oops. So what I might do is I might just take some of that out with the eraser tool. Right. So something like that. And you can continue adding into this as much as you like, folks, but obviously we're up against it time-wise. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but again, you can have some real fun doing something like this where you've kind of got this like energy ball on the staff. And just hit F again. It was doing that funny thing again where it was getting stuck. But you know, you get the general idea, right? That's not looking too shabby, right? So might just add a bit there. Right. Okay, let's go and export this bad boy out. What we'll do is we'll make another little folder in our folder. So I'll go and find our mystical scene. Mystical scene 2. Click new folder. We'll call this staff. Select the folder. which make sure that the output, the presets are at. You can find it. There we go. And I think that's it. I think we're good. Just one last check, sweep through. PNG, yada yada yada. That's all looking good. Oh, could all right. I'll keep it at PNG, but I think it should be at Targa. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to say that should actually by rights be at Targa. Now I'm hoping we're not going to see any problems at the other end. If so, what we might do is I might just have to revisit. Oh, it looks like I'm running out of space. I don't want to get there at the moment. All right, we'll see how we do. It's telling me that I'm running out of space. I'm not surprised. I've been running for so long. Okay, export. If this completely explodes, I'll just upload. I'll upload the video and I'll have to finish it later. But anyway, that's done that, and I'll just need to export the mesh. I'll put it in here as well. That's all good. Now,